Hi, my name is Ashley Pagel. I am a fourth grade language arts teacher at Danish Elementary. I have been teaching language arts for 9 years, and this year I was introduced to a program called Write About, which I'm here to share with you today. Write About is a classroom writing community and a publishing platform, and my students fell in love with it this year. They truly loved writing, which as their writing teacher, I can't ask for more. As you'll see, Jason and Joshua here, they just thought writing was fun, and Write About truly was the game changer in my classroom. So students easily log on to Write About by going to www.writeabout.com. It is tablet friendly, Chromebook friendly, or desktop friendly. You can, as the teacher, enroll your students. There's a class code that you are given when you log in, and your students use that every single time they log in with a username and a password. Or students can log themselves in the first time, and both ways work very seamlessly. As a writing teacher, we know that students need to write every day. The only way they're going to get better is by writing, and Write About acts like a digital writer's notebook. It stores all their writing, it keeps all their writing. They can start a draft, continue working on it, but it's just much more fun. So here's some data from my class that the students did. We started using Write About in December. So you will see it just skyrocketed and took off. April, they were not on the computer as much, honestly, so that's why you see the decrease. But it jumped right back up in May. They just loved using the program. So why does this matter? Students were engaged. When they got on Write About, they weren't looking around, they weren't wasting time, they loved it. They were just on Write About, they were writing. It taught students voice, and they could identify a purpose for their writing. Students, knowing that other peers and teachers were going to be reading their writing, they started to focus on, okay, why am I writing? What's the reason for this? And they added a lot of voice that I don't think they would have had because they knew someone was going to read their writing. They took a lot more risks because they wanted to add humor and make their writing interesting. They became very comfortable with collaboration. As I said, students can comment on one another's writing, so they knew that an audience was going to read their writing and give them feedback. So to tell you a little bit about that, this is Tanya. Tanya is a fourth grade student who is very relaxed. She's not competitive. She just very go with the flow. She noticed when she logged into Write About that it counts the number of posts that she put every time she published a piece of writing. She decided to set a goal for herself to achieve 100 posts. So she did that. In addition to that, Write About counts the number of words as a student is typing. Well, when Tanya noticed this feature, Tanya challenged herself to write a post with 1,000 words. And you'll see here, this is the post that she created. It has 1,003 words, and she was so proud of herself. In addition to that, it got 14 comments from her peers, which was the most that any piece of writing had gotten. They were all impressed. And this led to her having confidence as a writer. In addition to that, in her science classroom, I do not teach my students science. Another teacher does in my district. And in her science classroom, a conversation came up about starting a butterfly garden at our school. They decided one student should write a letter to the principal to start this butterfly garden. It was a unanimous vote that Tanya should be the writer of this letter because on Write About, they had noticed that Tanya writes long and strong. She sticks to the topic. She has focus when writing. She adds strong supporting detail. She gives evidence. And all of these things were just a conversation that was happening in her science classroom. Everything a writing teacher wants to hear. And this, again, in turn, gave her a ton of confidence. And it gave the other students a ton of motivation to write more because they wanted to be recognized and noticed this way by their peers. So why does this matter? Because students that are motivated to write and can identify themselves as a writer are going to then grow as a writer, which I saw tremendous growth in my classroom. So on Write About, students are able to easily write. It's very simple and easy to use. Like I said, they can grow as writers by receiving feedback in the form of comments from their peers and easily from you as their teacher. They can publish to a safe audience, and they have a few choices for how they publish, and they can participate in comment on one another's writing. So Joshua will show you one of the easiest things that he likes about Write About is that it makes their writing easy. When a student logs into Write About and they want to go to write, this is a page that they will see. They can easily add an image to their writing. They can record audio and narrate their writing. They can enter a title and write, like I said, long and strong about their topic. So as a student is writing, if they do not finish, they can save their work as a draft and then it will go to their page as soon as they log in the next time. Or if they're ready to publish it, they can put it in 4 easy options. They can publish it just to the teacher privately. They can publish it to their classmates within their class. They can publish it to the school, so anyone that is using Write About within their school will be able to see that. Or they can publish it publicly, and that's where it will go so that students can connect with other people in the state or throughout the country. So when a student first logs into Write About, they are immediately taken to a page where they see their drafts, their current works in progress. So they're one click away from continuing and starting that piece of writing. They're also, if they choose the next tab, can see all the completed posts that they have done. If they do not want to continue working on a draft, by scrolling down, they will see ideas that have been pushed to them by their teacher. Here are some ideas that I have pushed to my students' page. And even still, if they don't find something to write about there, by clicking on ideas, they are taken to thousands of lots of good idea starters for their writing. And they are truly, truly engaging for the student. When a student clicks on an idea, all they have to do to start writing is click Write About. It's that simple. Write About will take them to the screen where they can enter a title, they can record their audio, or immediately start writing. You'll see on the left-hand corner of the screen where it's counting the words, and that truly motivated Tanya and lots of my other students to write longer and stronger. Like I said, they have a ton of high interest, relevant ideas that my students were truly excited about. It stays relevant throughout the school year, and as a teacher, you can put those on their page. The way I structure using Write About in my classroom is students are given an assignment per week. They have to publish 1 post per week that has been assigned to them from me and pushed on their page. As soon as they finish that post, they are free to do whatever they want throughout their Write About time, meaning they can comment on one another's writing as they're reading it. They can browse through the thousands of ideas and do different genres of writing. They can write narrative, expository, opinion writing. They can write poetry. And a lot of the students really enjoy that feature because they don't see that exposure much, and that helps them to become stronger writers. And students love, love, love making the comment. It truly takes their writing and makes it social. And like I said, it enabled them to take risks. And a lot of my students who are reluctant writers, by reading other students' writing, it gave them ideas and it spurred a lot more writing from them as well. So another feature that I love about Write About is it makes their writing visible. This is an example of a student's public page. Anytime they post something publicly, it goes on their page. Other classmates and students can follow their page, and that way they'll receive updates when they make their posts, and that way they can follow and read along. So as a teacher, what do you do on Write About? Well, you model, you write. You write, you write, you write, because we know in order for our students to write well, they need to see good, strong models of that writing. You can scaffold. Like I said, I put at least 1 idea that they're responsible for completing every week, and then they can choose from a variety of other ones. A lot of times I would find that a lot of my students had found a really fun idea to write about, so then I would then push it onto their homepage. You can instruct, you can provide feedback and monitor their work. I'll talk to you a little bit more about that, and you can empower them as writers. As a teacher, you do have the ability to to moderate what goes live on Write About. You can choose if you have to approve the posts, the comments before they go live, and that feature is awesome as well, because then you're able to provide that one-on-one feedback. Hey, maybe that wasn't super appropriate, or that was a really nice comment, but it wasn't said in the kindest way. Do you think you could go back and edit it and make that to where it's a little bit more kind. This is an example of a post that I created for my students. We had just finished reading the book Stone Fox, so I created this post so that they could go on to write about and connect their reading and their writing. Another example of a post that I have created, students were in science learning about mealworms. They were each given a mealworm as a pet. And so instead of just on paper in their science classroom introducing their mealworm that way, students logged on to write about, introduce their mealworm to one another, and were able to make comments, and it completely turned it social. They loved hearing each other's names and what makes each other's mealworm special. I love Write About because it makes, as a teacher, providing feedback to my students very easy. I can simply click record audio and narrate my feedback to students. I can type and start writing, or I can go in and I can annotate and highlight within the students' writing exactly what I'm trying to point out to them. So immediately they receive that feedback right when they log in. This is an example that I've provided feedback to a student named London. And so you can see it's just super, super simple. Another feature that I really like about Write About is that students can connect with other classes. So you will see on this page, it's Pagel's Pack of Writers, the students that have made their posts public all go to this page. So as a teacher, when you want to connect with other teachers, either in your school or in your state or around the world, you can search for other teachers this way simply by putting in their name. And this page comes up and it makes it very easy for your students to connect with other students in your building, in your state, in the country, and around the world. So Lucas will tell you the biggest difference is the connection that you can make through Write About. They truly, truly loved it. Not only that, you're teaching them how to become digital citizens in a safe way, because that's relevant to their world and they need that feedback and help. And as you know, writing is creative. So the more ways that we can get our students engaged and excited to write, the more they're going to write and the more they're going to grow as writers. So Write About just truly made that simple and easy in my classroom, and my students grew because of it. The Write About team is really easy to connect with, and we would love to hear from you. We're on Twitter at @MyWriteAbout. They're on Facebook. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to email us. I look forward to using Write About this year, and I hope you find value in your classroom with it as well.